Hey, I'm Mack. Welcome back to my channel. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe and consider joining my Patreon for access to new videos 12 to 24 hours early. So when you think of great scientists of our current day or even throughout history, you immediately think Einstein, Newton, Copernicus, Galileo, Carl Deichler. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you not think Carl Deichler? Well, you clearly weren't aware that Beachbody, okay, which is not a problematic name. Beachbody is a scientific organization, okay? I know that you thought that they were problematic on multiple levels as a multi-level marketing company, but no, they're just doing research and making facts unlike you, okay? God, I hate Beachbody so much. They seriously piss me off. And nobody pisses me off quite as much as Autumn Calabrese. Autumn Calabrese. With program titles that she does, she's a super trainer for Beachbody. With program titles like 80-Day Obsession and, lose weight like crazy, 21-Day Fix, and now she's got a 4-week gut program, okay? Okay, Autumn. Let's pretend Autumn's here. Autumn. You and I both know that it is not possible for either of us to weigh over like 200 pounds. Like, it's not possible. Okay? So therefore, it's going to be not possible for some people to look like you. Just in the same way that it's not possible for either of us to be over 200 pounds. Like, our bodies are we just don't have that set point, okay? So just admit it. No, you're not going to admit it because it lets you keep thinking you're morally superior to everybody else. Oh, okay. Okay, well, you do you, I guess. Yeah, so I learned that Beachbody published a scientific paper that I printed out because I print things out like an old man. And I thought we could go through it. It's about their Shakeology. Shakeology. Oh, you don't know what Shakeology is? Well, Shakeology is Beachbody's monthly auto ship profit generation program. I'm sorry. I mean, it's their health shake, because if you don't drink a synthetic processed shake every day, you are literally never going to be healthy. This is how you get healthy. You have to drink a shake. I'm sorry if you weren't aware, okay? You have to become a nice big head and a stick body and drink a shake. That's obviously how it works. So, I mean, I know. I used to think that it was just about being active and, not eating unhealthy foods and, being active at any weight. But, I was wrong. And I just have to say that I'm really looking forward to seeing this evidence, because I'm looking here and Shakeology. Okay, let's look at this. So you take 1 scoop of it, you put it in 8 to 12 ounces of water or beverage of choice. I don't know what they mean by beverage of choice. And then you blend it or you shake it and you enjoy, which don't tell me what to do. Let's hear the pitch, okay? I also printed out the nutrition facts for this because I print things out like an old man. Change begins inside. When you want to get more out of life, start by feeding your body high quality food like Shakeology. Shakeology is a powerful superfood shake crafted with nutrients that help your body perform at its best. Not just protein, vitamins, and minerals, but antioxidants, phytonutrients, digestive enzymes, fiber, adaptogens, and more. Well, I sure do love adaptogens, and I also love more. Just sidebar. I've said this before. Adaptogen is a fucking bullshit word. It is a prohibited health claim in the European Union, and the reason that the European Union does not permit it as a health claim is because it is too vague to be of any scientific relevance. Like it's too vague of something to say, because they're saying adaptogens are claimed to help your body adapt to different situations that come up, which is so vague that it's utterly meaningless, and that's why it's a prohibited claim. It's total bullshit. I hate it. It's so stupid. So adaptogens and more. Sometimes I just wonder, like, am I supposed to read this and be like, okay, well, that sounds weird, let me put that in my body? It's delicious daily nutrition that helps you build a foundation for a healthier life so you can feel better and take on new challenges every day, asterisk. And the asterisk goes to, these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So that disclaimer is something, fun fact, is something that you have to put on your product marketing or your product's label if you want to really make sure that the FDA does not start considering the claims that you're making to be drug claims. Because once you are making claims that the FDA considers to be a drug claim, then you have to submit a new drug application, like the way that all pharmaceuticals do. And you know, the evidence that you have to deliver for that, it gets delivered by actual semi truck. Well, it used to when it was on paper. When people printed out things like an old man or me. Okay, so what's in here? Oh, and by the way, like, you won't be able to take on any new challenges unless you drink Shakeology. So, great. So we got blueberry in here, which, thank God, who would want to eat actual blueberries? Flax. Okay. You know what flax is good for? Flax is good for sleeping on it. Like linen, okay? Weird flax, but okay. Maca root? Maitake? Maitake? Is that a mushroom? I think it's a mushroom. Lycium berry, pomegranate, quinoa, matcha green tea. Okay, all of these things sound pretty good, like, compared to Shakeology. I mean, I've never had maitake mushrooms, but if they're like shiitake mushrooms, it sounds pretty good. I mean, why don't you just go get a pomegranate and eat that? Or some quinoa and eat that? Or some matcha green tea and eat that? And it's like, okay, so the health benefits that any of these foods would have, you're not getting them by processing them and putting like individual components into this shake. This is a paradigm called nutritionism, which is the idea that foods are just the sum of their parts, which is just not the case. Like, a lot of the health benefits that a food might have has to do with it being as a whole in the context of the rest of the food, like before you've like processed it. Once you've processed it, it's not just you're getting parts of the benefit, and if you have all the parts, it'll add up to it. Like, that's not how it works, unfortunately. I mean, or fortunately, because now you can have an actual pomegranate, and get your bowl of water and that's me doing that's my impression of separating out a pomegranate in water. This is how you do it. Now I want pomegranate. If you've never had a fresh pomegranate before, I highly recommend. Okay, and then it goes into detail here about what's in it. I just want you to hear how ridiculous this is when when it's in context, okay? And how many ingredients are in this. Proprietary protein blend, whey, pea, flax, and quinoa. Proprietary superfruit / antioxidant blend. Jesus. Camu. Are people supposed to know what camu is? I don't know what that is. Now I'm gonna have to look that shit up. Blah 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 blah. Commonly known as camu or camo is a species of plant. It is a small, bushy riverside tree from the Amazon rainforest in Peru and Brazil. Of course it is, because of course it is. I bet it's long been used by the native peoples. Grows to a height of 9.8 feet to 16.4 feet. Bears a red / purple cherry-like fruit. Is a relative of the hubudacaba and the guava berry or rum berry. As much as 2 to 3% of the fresh fruit by weight is vitamin C. Okay. Big deal. Long used by the native peoples, wild camu fruit is harvested directly into canoes. The fruit has only recently come into large-scale cultivation and sale to the world market, with Japan being the major buyer. Okay. The tree is relatively easy to cultivate within certain growing conditions. It survives best in hot, damp, tropical climates, but will grow in the subtropics, surviving temperatures down to just above freezing. It requires copious water, so not in Utah. Okay, let's see. Anything about these health claims on here? The fruit is rich in flavonoids, which, okay, garbage. Documentation of traditional camu uses is scarce. In traditional Amazonian societies, camu is not likely to have ever been nutritionally relevant except for its vitamin C content. The fruit is extremely acidic and the flavor is much like a sour grape with a large pit. Native Amazonian groups living on the banks of the Nane River in the Loreto region of Peru have been reported as using camu as a traditional remedy for the treatment of malaria. I mean, does it work? Probably not. Over-harvesting of wild camu threatens to make it an endangered species. Efforts are underway to encourage commercial growing of camu in the Amazon River basin. Jesus Christ. Okay, maybe you think that that was too much going into it, maybe I went off on a tangent there, but why else do they put it on here and put it in here if we're not supposed to know what it is? Are we not supposed to know? So that sounds like a bunch of hot garbage. Also, can we stop extracting things from the global south, please? Can we stop taking things from the Amazon rainforest because it's been on Dr. Oz or something? Just stop. Please. I wonder what they're going to be cutting down to start growing commercially camu because the native populations can't support enough of it to put in your Shakeology. Really? Oh, lycium is goji berries, or as they would call it in a Chinese shop, wolfberries. Those are a lot cheaper. Camu, ace cherry, blueberry, bilberry, lycium berry, which is goji berry, lo hongguo, pomegranate rose hips, vitamins A, C, and E. These rare superfoods and vitamins. There's no such thing as superfoods. There's only supermarketing, okay? Do I need to tell the goji berry story again? I don't think I do. It's in the isogenics video. Proprietary super green. Again, there's only supermarketing. / phytonutrient blend. Chlorella. What the hell is chlorella? Kale, spinach, matcha green tea. First of all, how is green tea a green? Like, I don't think that's what we mean when we're talking about greens. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, getting your greens doesn't mean, like, having tea. Chlorella is an algae. Are you kidding me? Why are we putting, why? I don't understand. I don't understand why it's in here. I guess because it's green. I mean, is that why? Spinach, kale, matcha green tea. Why don't you just eat spinach and kale? Like, I know that not everybody has access to, fresh vegetables, but it would be cheaper than Shakeology is. And, frozen's good too. Which, again, I know that not everybody has, like, access to a good grocery store, but once again, it would be cheaper than Shakeology is what I'm saying. Proprietary fucking damn it. Proprietary adaptogen blend. I cannot talk today. Proprietary adaptogen blend. We have ashwagandha, which I covered in the isogenics video. It doesn't do anything. Astragalus. Okay, so ashwagandha, astragalus, which there's no evidence that astragalus is safe or effective for any reason. It's a type of it's also known as milk vetch or loco weed or goat's thorn. There's no evidence that it is effective for or safe for any medical purpose, although there is evidence that it can cause neurotoxicity due to some content of neurotoxic compounds, which can cause poisoning. It also, some species may contain high levels of selenium, which could also cause toxicity. And it may also have some drug interactions with immunosuppressant drugs. So if you are being treated for cancer, or if you've ever had a transplant or an autoimmune condition and you're on treatment for that, that could be an issue. Although, I mean, Beachbody doesn't disclose this or anything, but I'm just saying. It can also affect the regulation of blood sugar and blood pressure. So, I mean, anything that has an effect can also have side effects. It won't in everybody, but it can. And if it doesn't have any side effects in any people, then it probably doesn't do anything. So maca, I guess it contains a bunch of phytochemicals, which just means like plant chemicals, which could mean anything. There's some of these compounds are being studied for cancer toxicity, like as a treatment for cancer, but I mean, none of this is proven or even becoming a candidate for cancer treatment. It certainly won't prevent cancer. Maca has been marketed for its supposed uses in traditional medicine, but there is no high quality research to indicate it has any effect on health or diseases, and it cites 3 sources. A 2016 systematic review found little evidence that it affects semen quality in healthy and infertile men. A 2011 review found no good evidence for the effectiveness of maca as a treatment for menopausal symptoms in women or for its safety. They're just putting these things willy-nilly into here and telling you to drink them every day. What? Like, think about that. You don't know what these things do. I mean, I'm sure that Beachbody's Shakeology does not do any of these things, but they're claiming it has some effect. And then I mean, why else would they put it in here if they're not trying to like claim the benefits of these effects here? So they're just expecting you to uncritically just put these ingredients into your body. What the fuck? Like, maybe it seems like going overboard to look up all these ingredients and look up all this information. But like, what else are you supposed to do? Am I supposed to just look at this and go, oh, maca root. Great. I'll have some. Like, no, I don't know what that is. So let me look up what it is before I just ingest this. Maitake, so it's another one I gotta look up. Also known as hen of the woods, dancing mushroom, ram's head or sheep's head. Species is a choice edible mushroom, has been consumed for centuries in China and Japan, used in many Japanese dishes. The softer caps must be thoroughly cooked. Although under laboratory and preliminary clinical research for many years, particularly for the possible biological effects of its polysaccharides, there are no completed high-quality clinical studies for maitake as of 2019. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it's probably still true. And once again, like, I'm just supposed to accept that as an ingredient. Reishi, next ingredient, reishi, is another mushroom. It's another mushroom. Used in traditional Chinese medicine, there is insufficient evidence to indicate that consuming reishi mushrooms or their extracts has any effect on human health or diseases. So once again, what the fuck? Like, why? Like, they clearly put these things in here for a reason. Why? Shisandra, that's also in the isogenics video. It doesn't do anything. It could have some interactions with drugs. Chaga is another mushroom. It doesn't say there's any evidence for the health benefits of chaga, but it does say that you should watch out because it has high levels of oxalates, so that could cause gout or exacerbate gout or kidney stones. So I'm glad Beachbody warns us about that. See, that's the problem with these natural supplements, is they never tell you what the possible side effects could be. They always are like, oh, I mean, there's no side effects. Okay, if there's no side effects, then there's no real effects. So those are all the adaptogens that it has. Okay. Proprietary pre and probiotic / digestive enzyme blend. Chicory root. Okay, we got Bacillus coagulans, it's a type of bacteria that forms a spore, which is okay, fine. Like, this is like the first thing that I'm okay with in here. Like, it's a probiotic. The thing is, like, it has to be a bacteria that forms a spore, or else it's just not going to survive being transported as like a part of Shakeology or in a capsule at a store or whatever. That's how it works, because like, it needs to still be alive when you consume it for it to work as a probiotic, and it also has to survive like stomach acid and everything, which if it forms a spore, then it can, which fine, like, that's actually a valid probiotic. But whatever. Amylase. You produce so much amylase on your own. Cellulase. I don't know why that's in here. Lactase. Okay. Why? I mean, I guess maybe it'll kind of help digest milk if that's your thing. Glucoamylase, alpha galactosidase, invertase. You have all those enzymes. I don't understand. This is so stupid. And they're telling you to drink this every day. I don't understand this. Other ingredients: organic cane sugar, natural chocolate flavor, xanthan gum, stevia leaf extract, Himalayan pink salt, and mixed tocopherols to maintain freshness. And okay, now let's look at the supplement facts here, which let's remember this is supposed to be like the key to your healthy diet, right? 1 scoop or 37 grams is 140 calories, 2 grams of fat, 7 grams of sugar. That's 7 grams of sugar. 7 grams of sugar in 37 grams of powder. That's 19% sugar. 19% of Shakeology is sugar. That's a fifth of it. 1/5 of Shakeology is sugar. This is a health food, and a fifth of it is sugar. Sugar. 1/5. Like 1 in 5 parts of it is sugar. And it's a health food. You know what? Let's see what that looks like, okay? Okay. You're supposed to dissolve it in 8 fluid ounces. 8 fluid ounces is 240 milliliters, which is about this, okay? Health food. Health food. Health food. Like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? Ridiculous. I don't understand. Like, and you just know that they view like people who don't do shit like this as not being like actually committed to their health. Like, oh, you don't drink 7 grams of added sugar every day? What's wrong with you? Like, what? You just eating actual food that has protein in it? Like, why aren't you just eating my extract things? Like, okay, so 17 grams of protein. So it's 17 grams of protein and 7 grams of sugar. So it's barely got twice as much protein as it has sugar. Like, so that's 42% protein and 19% sugar for my health food. So you're just gonna add 7 grams of sugar to every day with your Shakeology, and that's going to make you healthy. Okay. I mean, I would say that any food that has added sugar is not a health food. I'm not saying you can't have any of it. I'm just saying I wouldn't consider it to be a health food if it has 7 grams of added sugar or any added sugar. But what do I know? I'm not the one who has this amazing study, okay, that Beachbody did. So we're going to go through the study now. Yeah, that's right. We just got to the study. So Beachbody is going to explain to us, you know, with their scientific research, okay, the effect of a high protein, high fiber beverage, Shakeology, on subjective appetite ratings and subsequent ad libitum energy intake in overweight men and women, a randomized double-blind placebo-controlled crossover study, which, great, sounds good so far. you know? I mean, it's ticking a lot of the boxes for me, but you know, we got to see what's going on here first. So they're looking at the effect of Shakeology on how people rated their appetite, as well as how much food did they eat afterward when they were allowed to eat as much as they wanted, versus how much they ate and how they rated their appetite after the placebo drink. The introduction. Overweight and obesity continue to be major public health concerns. In an effort to combat the obesity epidemic, Jesus Christ. I guess we're just uncritically accepting this, huh? Numerous dietary approaches have been proposed for weight loss and subsequent weight maintenance. And how well have they worked? Yeah, I mean, it continues to be a major public health concern, but the problem is not, is it a concern? The problem is, should it be a concern? Which, like, really, no. How about you start worrying about the problems we actually care about? Like, how about preventing diabetes and treating diabetes? That's a real problem. That's like overweight and obesity. Like, who fucking cares? Too many people care, apparently. There is strong support for dietary protein improving acute appetite control, and this effect is greater than that of carbohydrates and or fats. I mean, yeah, that's like fairly well known, although I don't know about the fats thing, but especially with sugars, fructose does not have an effect on satiety. Like, you don't feel satisfied after having fructose, which is half of what table sugar is, and which is also half of what high fructose corn syrup is. I mean, so yeah, like, it doesn't make you feel less hungry to have sugar, but that's not exactly new information here. That's not exactly in question. What we're talking about is Shakeology. In addition, fiber has been shown to have similar acute effects on measures of appetite, but these do not necessarily translate into reductions in energy intake. Okay, yeah, but like, not when it's in a drink, really. Fiber, the problem with fiber is it's only really having the effects that it is claimed to when it is part of a whole food. Anyway. Interestingly, recent research suggests that combining fiber with lower amounts of protein in solid food forms elicits a similar effect on appetite as high protein alone. Kind of playing it fast and loose with the word interestingly. Improved appetite control may facilitate weight loss and weight management by helping to improve compliance of individuals on energy-restricted diets, okay? Wow, what a noble goal. Jesus. Like, heaven forbid we just, like, stop trying to make weight loss the end-all be-all. Heaven forbid. Like, none of these things are going to help people make healthier choices as far as like their actual health when they're choosing foods to eat. Like, but what do I know? Consumers have an increased desire to consume more on-the-go foods containing protein and or fiber. However, limited evidence exists assessing the potential synergistic effects of protein and fiber for appetite control. What are you talking about? The objective of this study is to determine the acute effects of a high-protein, high-fiber beverage, Shakeology, taken as a preload on the subjective appetite ratings and subsequent energy intake at an ad libitum meal. They let them eat as much pizza as they want. Compared with an isocaloric, lower protein, lower fiber placebo. So they made a placebo drink that is based on maltodextrin, which is basically, it tastes rather sweet depending on the formulation. It's almost related to starch, but it's really more like a sugar. So it has the same number of calories as the Shakeology does, and it's supposed to have the same flavor as the Shakeology. That's what it says, so that they wouldn't know which one it was when they were drinking it. Like, it's supposed to look and kind of feel the same in the mouth, but it has low fiber and low protein, and it has a shitload of carbohydrates. I looked at it, and it's got 37 grams of carbohydrates in the control drink versus the Shakeology, which is insane. And a bunch of that, I believe it's 17 grams of the carbohydrate and the control is sugar. So it kind of wouldn't surprise me if it had an effect, or if the Shakeology had an effect more so than the control one did, because yeah, it's, if you're consuming that much sugar, like, it's of course not going to be very satisfying, but whatever. The point is, okay, so they recruited the participants. They had 50 participants in this study. Inclusion criteria included age 18 to 50 years old, overweight/obese individuals, BMI 27 to 33, whatever, I don't care about BMI, abstaining from strenuous exercise, alcoholic drink consumption, and caffeine-containing foods and beverages for 24 hours before the study. I got it. I was so confused there for a second. I was like, what, they have to drink? And they had to have no previous history or presence of diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular, pulmonary, biliary, and gastrointestinal disorders, pregnancy or breastfeeding, or use of medications known to influence carbohydrate metabolism, gastrointestinal function, or appetite, major trauma or surgical event within 3 months of screening, known intolerance, sensitivity, or allergy to any ingredients in the study product, or change in body weight greater than 3.5 kilograms within 4 weeks of the screening visit. So they had to have none of those things. So no diabetes, no hypertension, no liver disease, no gastrointestinal disorder, no cardiovascular disease. Okay, so we're just testing this on healthy, overweight/obese people who don't really need to change their, because like it sounds like they're actually healthy since they don't have diabetes, they don't have hypertension, they don't have cardiovascular disease. So what are we doing? They just need to lose weight because they do. Okay. Well, I hope you paid them a lot for this study. Okay, so they ended up with 41 subjects at the beginning of the actual analysis. It's a crossover study. So the experimental group and the control group come in, they do the study, and then 7 days later they come in for a second visit, and the roles are reversed. The experimental group becomes the control group becomes the experimental. So, but like, I would think that could have an effect if you were previously in this one group and then you're in the other group. I don't know. I feel like that could have an effect on the results, and they didn't break that out here. So it was blinded, it was randomized, so that's good. I see that. I am happy with their blinding procedure. Subjects arrived to the testing facility after a 10 to 12 hour overnight fast. Prior to consumption of the assigned beverage preload, subjects completed appetite and physical comfort questionnaires. Subjects were then instructed to consume the beverage within 5 minutes. Immediately after consumption of the beverage preload, a palatability questionnaire was completed, followed by an appetite questionnaire at 10, 20, and 30 minutes post-consumption. Also at 30 minutes, subjects completed a physical comfort questionnaire. Subjects were then provided an ad libitum pizza meal, which means like they could have like as much as they wanted, and were asked to consume pizza over the next 30 minutes until they were comfortably full. At 60 minutes, final appetite and palatability questionnaires were completed, and all participants were permitted to leave the facility. 13 grams of sugar in the control group's beverage, 7 grams in the Shakeology. Ad libitum pizza meal consisted of individual pizzas. Pizza was served in a private room with 3 plates of rectangular pizzas. Pizza belongs in a triangle. Nutrition information for the pizzas is as follows. Wait a minute. Cheese. The cheese pizza is 82 grams, okay? It has 190 calories, 6 grams of fat, 24 grams of carbohydrate, 9 grams of protein. The pepperoni pizza is 87 grams, 190 calories, 6 grams of fat, 24 grams of carbohydrate, 9 grams of protein. How can that be? Like that doesn't seem correct. Like you would think there would be some difference. especially because like it weighs more. I don't know, whatever. So the big point is the control beverage had only 3 grams of fiber and it had only 1 gram of protein, whereas the Shakeology has 6 grams of fiber and it has 17 grams of protein, but they have the same amount of calories. Actually, no. They were supposed to taste the same, although I would note here that it looks like the Beachbody drink rated lower in palatability than the controlled drink did. The subjects related it as not tasting as good. Just slightly though, but still significantly. They should have called that out probably. Maybe if you had something palatable, it kind of whets your appetite. Here's how they rated the subjective appetite. Subjective measures of appetite, palatability, and physical comfort were assessed using a visual analog scale. Each of the questions included a 100 millimeter visual analog scale anchored at each end with opposing statements. Patients marked a vertical line on the line at a point that they felt reflected their feelings at the moment the test was taken. Oh, come on. Subjects were not permitted to refer to their previous ratings when completing the VAS. Okay, so here's the red flag here is the fact that they're using this visual analog scale. So they had like a line, right? And they just had the subjects mark on the line how, either hungry or full they felt and how good it tasted or how bad it tasted. And they weren't allowed to look at their previous ratings when they did it. So I mean, I would not be able to remember exactly where I put that line. It's like 10 centimeters. Like, I don't know. Like what? I don't know. And then they're just measuring out where they put where the patient or where the subject marked their little line and extrapolating wildly. So I would have that's my first complaint about this study is the fact that that's not a very even having people rate it 1 to 10 would be better in my opinion, but okay. I mean, it's still just subjective. It's people just rating how they felt about it. I mean, and who knows, like if I'm putting a mark like somewhere like halfway between the scale or whatever, I don't remember exactly where I put it last time. Significant main effects of beverage preload type on change in desire to eat. Both beverages showed a reduction in appetite or desire to eat, but the Shakeology had a bigger reduction when we're talking about how they rated their appetite, which, okay. I mean, again, they're just marking a line on a spectrum. Okay. There was a significant main effect of time for fullness and prospective consumption, but no differences between the beverages. So the control was just as good as the Shakeology. There were no differences in feelings of fullness or prospective consumption, like how much people planned to eat. There was a significant reduction in appetite, though, and how people rated their appetite. Again, we're talking about the placing a mark on a line. And okay, so whatever to all these subjective effects. I would like to get to the one actual numerical effect. So analysis of intake. Looking at the ad libitum energy intake in the unadjusted model. So did they eat more pizza or did they eat less pizza compared to the control group? Showed no significant differences between the Shakeology and the control beverage. I mean, whatever to the things that the people rated, I'm pretty sure I care about how much they eat, It also would have been interesting to see a group that had no placebo like no placebo drink, or had a 0-calorie placebo. The Shakeology group ate 860 calories plus or minus 64.2. And the other group, the control group, had 945 plus or minus 64. You can see that like the two things cross over. So it's within the margin of error. So there's no difference. And here's where this study really starts to lose me, because that's kind of a devastating result, what they're going to do now is they're going to try to go in here and do an analysis where they're like throwing out various groups or whatever, which can start to sound legitimate, but it's not. You can't do that. Why? Because you already know the results that you got. So you're going back in and you are performing an analysis where you already know what the results were. So that's going to obviously influence the analysis that you're going to choose to do. And now you're going to be looking for any subgroup which makes it look like the results worked, when that type of analysis can be valid for pointing you in a good direction for future study. But that's not the analysis that you set out to do. It matters what your goal was at the beginning, and it matters what you know when you're going into doing the analysis. That's why you set up your whole protocol for what you're going to do at the beginning of the study before you know what the results are. Because when you already know what the results are, well, it's hard to believe that that's not going to influence your choice of analysis. Sure, that can tell you what the future study is, but that's not what your results were. Okay, you need to do it if you want to. You can do a subgroup analysis for future research, but it's for future research. So if you want to report those results, then you need to go in and do another study on only that subgroup. Okay, you need to do a new study. Because what are you going to do? When you go to that new study, you set up what your analysis is going to be, you set up everything, and then you get your results. And then, without anybody knowing, you prospectively are going to get the results. That's the whole point of doing trials like this, is that you decide beforehand how you're going to analyze the results. And then whatever the results are is whatever the results are. But when you're doing it the other way around, you can get whatever result you want. If you torture the statistics hard enough. And look what they find. They find that in their subjects who were over 25, there was a very significant effect, although I wouldn't say it was that significant. It's barely significant in terms of like when they say significant in a paper like this, it means that usually it means there's a less than 5% probability that the results that they observed could have occurred by chance. That's a very summarized way of putting it. It's a very simplified way of putting it, but that's basically what they're saying when they say significant. So you already had a very small sample of only 41 subjects, and when you are limiting it after the fact, when you already know what the results are, you're down to only just 22 test subjects when you're looking at only the people who are over 25. You need a bigger sample. That's another reason that you need to do a new study instead of parading this around as if it's valid. And that's just where this study completely loses me. I don't care at that point that it's randomized double blind. You're doing their analysis and you're reporting the results of a retrospective, basically on the fly reanalysis and re-narrowing of the subjects' inclusion criteria. But no, there's no point in it being blinded if you're going to go back in after the fact and do an analysis that you didn't say you were going to do at the beginning. That's not the analysis you said you were going to do. If you want to do a study on people who are over 25 with this thing, then you need to do a new study with new test subjects, and you need to set out your analysis beforehand before you start reporting those results as valid. And I know that maybe you don't say it in here that these results are valid, but I will assure you that's the way that Beachbody is marketing them. Shame on you. And really, okay, the difference is only like 100 calories or less between the groups. So, okay, big deal. They ate 100 calories less pizza. Who cares? No one cares. No one cares. Because guess what? They might have eaten 100 calories less of pizza, but they had 160 calories of fucking Shakeology. So they're up 60 calories. Aren't they? And 7 grams of added sugar. So I'm going to go with, maybe they weren't that much better off than beforehand. Maybe they should have just skipped the Shakeology. Jesus Christ. So I need to go find Autumn Calabrese so that I can sign up for my Shakeology, okay? And just tell her how amazing she is. I've been Mac. Peace out. Bye!
Self-help dumpster fire, business cosplay joke, financial bloodbath.